core exercises, because again, as we just mentioned, the lengthening, the whole core thing is so critical. Just a few things like exercises like the plank. If again, I'm trying to emphasize a nice neutral spine. You don't want to be hiked, okay? I don't want to be lordotic. I don't want to be staring up at the ceiling. I'm not going to be hyperextending it at the neck. I'm just going to look straight down at the neck and just try to, again, focus on rock up and in, holding, okay? So things like that.
How do you gauge progress with that?
Okay, so basically, yeah, well, time and form. So honestly, what I look for more, but even ahead of time, is whenever I see, compromising form. So I'll just give you an indication of what happens sometimes. So I see a lot of this. I see a lot of this. I see this. And again, what happens again is as you progress with fatiguing, I see the same. When I start to see the same, we're done. Same thing. This exercise can be done on the side for the obliques. This does put some stress on the shoulder, so you can avoid that by actually coming into this type of position where you're bringing the elbow to the knee and you're still getting the obliques. That will take the stress off your shoulder. I actually have never had issues with my shoulder, so I'm perfectly fine in doing something like that. But again, like as I think everybody can kind of see that, my focus is on control, slow, controlled movements that emphasize lengthening and emphasize postural, a safe posture at all times. So, does anybody have any questions? Would anybody like to come up and try? Any volunteers like to come up and try any of these? Or because I'm going to move on.
I have a question.
Sure.
On the plank, you are doing it in the forearm. If you're doing your plank on your hand, where are you supposed to be looking at? At your hand or further out?
Okay, so you mean if I'm here?
She's on.
If you're on your
hand. Plank, if you're way up. If you get ready to push it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Where are you supposed to be looking at? At your own fingers or further out?
No. No. So if you're,
because I know I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah. So if you're here, so you always want to, again, maintain a neutral cervical spine. So anything that's going to put any kind of any posture that puts in any kind of compression. So if you're hyperextending here and you're compressing, you want to look straight down. And again, thinking about lengthening here. Straight down.
What they do is they lay a stick on your back, and if you
wow.
If the stick was flat, not a stick, just
right.
So if you picked your head up, you got that gap between it, and that meant you were
not in alignment. That is a really good way to do it.
I got a question.
Sure.
What happens when you're doing the beggar plank there, and your shoulders want to give away, they want to give up before your abs are ready to give up?
Yeah.
You got any tricks for that?
My thought first,
can you just say some people break into push-ups to move
take
around a little? Or they move their position, some move their elbows forward a little, maybe bring them back.
I've seen that. I was just going to say some people do that. What I would say, I don't know, Chris, you could probably answer this better than I could, but it's probably too much. It is too much stress.
Shoulder's the weakest joint in the body to begin with. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. That's just the way it is. So the more forward weight bearing over time, if you start to, it's not so much that you're going to have this overt injury, but you'll have eventually you'll start to have maybe bursitis issues. You know what I mean? You'll start to feel biceps tendons and all kinds of things. I would just, if you get to that point, you're that far into the plank, I would break away from it and then maybe start to do some crunches.
Yes,
Or roll over to the side planks, then come back to the side.
That's
what I've been doing. I've been breaking off of the beggar.
What I always tell people, honestly, you know better than anybody else. And I know, honestly, as an athlete, I had to learn this the hard way, okay? I finally figured out that I knew more about my own body than my coach did. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
So, if something hurts you or doesn't feel right, it's not good for you. For whatever reason, it doesn't even matter what the reason is. it's not a good exercise for you. So either break away from it and try something else and go back to it, or just take it out of your repertoire for a while. But again, I think that's another message that I'd like to really project to everybody, that you know better than anybody else what works for you and what doesn't. And if you're working with a trainer, you're working with a practitioner, and they're trying to push you into a position or push you to do something that you know it's not feeling right, you just have to speak up and just say, this is not working for me.
Doesn't mean it won't be right
At another time. Yeah, right.
whatever it
Exactly.
is, but
Right.
listening to your body is a great
Yeah, exactly. So what I would like to do is, I'd like to break, as I said, break up into a few small